One of the 5,000 who comes to KU is Carl. Carl's father's a western Kansas farmer, and so Carl lives on a farm. Carl's grandfather came to Kansas aboard a prairie schooner with nothing but a plow and a prayer to his name. But Carl sets out for KU with a battered old cornet and a well-practiced thumb. Dave, too, decides to come to KU, mostly because his mother and dad both went there. Dave figures if the old boy could have a good time at KU years ago, he certainly can today. He may get a little book learning on the side, but not if he can help it. And he can probably help it. Ann's mother owns this cafe in a small town. Ann wants to learn to be a school teacher, so she comes to KU for her training. Goodbye, Mama. And she gets on this a train. And so all our friends come to Mount Oread, where the flag flies high above the valley of the Kaw, which is a river. When each new student comes to KU, he must decide where he's going to live. Carl, through the help of university housing authorities, discovers he can get a room in this house for $7 a month, and a job washing dishes for his meals. There's nobody to home, I hope. Dave comes to the Memorial Union Building to register for a rushing period, for he's going to join a fraternity, while Ann will live in this huge girls' dormitory called Corbin Hall. This is Annie, and this is Corbin Hall. I don't know who that cutie is. College begins with a long line of enrollment. Practically everyone in the enrollment line is bewildered and mixed up. That is, everyone but the girls. They are never mixed up by lines, no matter how long they are. She had to go someplace. Dave discovers he's fresh out of pencils. Got a pencil, bud? I guess I can trust him. Gee, that was easy. Come on, Shyster, give that pencil back. You only borrowed it, you know. Here we meet Les for the first time, and boy is Lester homesick. Ann tries to cheer him up with a pat on the back, but it doesn't work. He doesn't even look behind him. Dope. School begins with a long blast on the whistle, calling everyone to their first classes. They come from all over the hill, some of them walking, from the dormitories, sororities, and fraternities, and some riding in jalopies like that can. If they run the class, they're freshmen for sure. Professors gather up their books. There are over 1,000 different courses offered at KU and more than 350 professors. The classrooms are soon full, and then the serious business of acquiring a college education is begun in earnest. An important rite in the life of each new student is the new student induction service. Each year the new students march down North College Hill into the stadium. Here they are inducted formally into the university by the chancellor. The vice chancellor of the university opens the meeting, reading a scripture passage from the Bible. And then a member of a very early graduating class speaks to the congregation, telling of her experiences in the early life of KU. A runner comes into the stadium bearing a torch from the rock chalk cairn. And the alumni secretary lights a fire symbolic of the spirit of old KU. Then Chancellor Millot administers the induction oath, repeated by each of the new students. Now each becomes a full-fledged member of KU. Les is still homesick. He'd rather be home in bed. Carl and his new roommate have begun their duties as dishwashers. Like Carl, 1 out of every 4 students at KU is entirely self-supporting. 1 out of every 2 is partially so. Each evening after Carl finishes washing his part of the dishes, he gets plenty of exercise climbing the 3 flights of stairs to his room. Here he practices on the battered old cornet he brought in from the farm. Someday he'd like to be in the KU band or the KU orchestra. Wow, Carl's playing is not good, but it's certainly loud. His roommate says it stinks. But smell or no smell, he keeps right on practicing. Dave is a carefree college boy these days. He lives in this nice big fraternity house, gets plenty of mail from the girls back home, sleeps late in the mornings, and has fine meals. You just can't beat this college life if you know how to live it. These boys are the fraternity brothers. They haven't smiled in years. Hi-ho, now for an evening of study. That's a school book, isn't it? Pretty cover, too. We'll save it for a rainy day or something. Les is so homesick he can taste it. See? It's Monday morning out and it's raining. It's a bad day, and Lester feels awful. He keeps daydreaming about the old hometown, about Main Street on Saturday mornings and all the people he knew back there. Boy, those were the good old days. Hello, Mrs. Smith. How are all the little Smiths? He dreams about his mother and the good supper she always had waiting for him. Good old mother and good old supper. Well, he decides I just might as well give up this college life and go home. I wasn't cut out to be a college boy anyway. My new college clothes never did fit me. Didn't want to be an engineer, I guess. And so he drags out the old suitcase and packs in the old pajamas. He's going home. Hello. At a time like this, a firm friend can be very helpful. And this helpful friend can be very firm. School is on in earnest now. There are thousands of things to do and thousands of things to see. Football games nearly every Saturday. Picture shows and parties and dances. But always there are books to be studied, and often the library is crowded to capacity with people studying. Gee, Mabel, you got beautiful eyes even in the library. Love comes to KU. He's been in KU 9 years, and they haven't beaten Nebraska yet. Joyless Joe, they call him. Band tryouts find Carl with a battered old cornet, eager for a chance at the KU band. But the playing still smells. Sorry, old boy. Come back next year in 5 or 10 or 15 years or something when you're better. Next, it's just like waiting to get a haircut. Carl feels as if he'd been trimmed. My, it's easy if you've got the combination, and this bird's got it. Yeah. Dave finds there are low grades to worry the carefree, so he goes to see the dean, at the dean's request. "Now, Mr. Sheldon, sit down," says the dean. "Now, what have you been doing instead of studying?" Dave just sits and shakes. Les is homesick again. He's worn out 4 pairs of pajamas packing him in this suitcase to go home. This time his friend takes him to see the men's student advisor. In troubled times for a boy, the men's student advisor can often help out. Help a boy find his place in university life. In the meantime, all hands at KU are busy at thousands of different tasks, all busy doing something new and something different for the most part, but all busy doing something. Mabel's busy too. Engineers sight through their transits. Astronomers stare at the stars. Some debate, and some make pottery, while still others fly in KU's CAA flying school, one of the largest in the United States. But always there's a KU Missouri football game to look forward to, and always there's a good crowd on hand for the battle. The band marches proudly down the field in its red and blue uniform, but Carl's not so happy. He's not in it. And there's a so-and-so that beat him out. He had a better horn. It's been 25 long, long years since Kansas has beaten Nebraska on the football field of honor. Let's take a look at the Daily Kansan and see, hello, Joe, and see how uh-oh, same old thing. Joyless Joe rides again. This player had grease on his pants. They just can't hold him. And this is the trickiest play of the year. Just keep your eye on the ball, if you can. Boy, didn't that play fool you? It sure fooled the KU boys. That was 10 years ago. And now we have fall and wet weather. Lots of water trickling around through the grass. Then comes Christmas holidays and snow. The snow sits around on the buildings and sits around on the trees and sits around on the cold, cold ground. We have winter sports for those who can take it, and she can take it. She can have it. Then sports move indoors for basketball, and here KU is really hot stuff. He can't miss the old bucket. No, sir. Then spring comes on, first inside the greenhouse, and later outside, too, where Mabel gets a dandelion. Blow hard, little love bug. Oh, boy, she's sweet. Dave's about to get a little spring tonic, a little pepper-upper from the rear. He's been bad all year, and this'll teach him, I bet. Oh. Oh, my goodness. That. Oh. There. That's better. Dave just couldn't get college through his head. So Carl's still getting his exercise and still wearing out his shoes, climbing the 3 flights of stairs to his room. He keeps on practicing on the old cornet. The old thing's battered but not bowed. Well, here's this guy again. Either the playing's getting better, he's lost his sense of hearing. Probably wants to borrow some money. Dave learns to study. With only 3 weeks of school left, Les finally decides to stay. He's had the whole year to think things over. Decides that with only 3 weeks left to go, he can wait, and his mother won't need him for that length of time. Tonight he's going to a meeting of the YMCA in the Union Building. Les hopes to find out what college life is all about, and it's high time he learned. Well, there's old Fred. Hello, Fred. Hello, boys. That was Fred. This group is the YMCA, and they're happy about the whole thing. Isn't that right, Lester? Could be. It's a possibility. My, that was a hot one. Here for the first time we see Les begin to loosen up. He's forgetting to be homesick. Now he's just one of the boys, finally part of the life at the great State University of Kansas. Now the end of the year is here, and so are final grades. Carl has done all right. An A, a B, and a C, and with a balanced budget, too. A whole year at KU, and Carl's going home with money in his pockets. $12.91 to be exact. And so we say goodbye to the old third-floor attic room. Goodbye, old third-floor attic room. Dave, too, finds you can make the grade if you just try a little. David learned the hard way, and it hurt for a week. Anne has had very little trouble with anything or anybody, for obvious reasons. She has brains under her hair. And so comes Mabel, where'd you get those shoes? Summers are not long when you're going to KU. Everyone's anxious to get back. And then in the fall, the Jayhawkers begin to fly home. From all parts of Kansas, from North and South America, from all parts of the world, too. Back to Mount Oriad, the home of the Jayhawker. Back to the dormitories, the sororities, and the fraternities. Back to greet old friends and to meet new ones. And always there's a new crop of freshmen. This is Freddie, and he's lost. I don't care. The astronomy building's supposed to be right here, and it's not. I don't care. Not even a road map. Oh, way down there. Boy, is he dumb. Carl calls the chancellor's office. He's won an appointment to one of the new men's dormitories maintained by the university for men students of high scholarship rank. Not only is it a great honor to live in one of the new dormitories, but it's a great saving in money as well. The boys all live cooperatively, each boy doing part of the work each day. The average cost of living in one of the new dormitories is approximately $18 per month. Sometimes it is lower than this. There's Carl's new roommate. Isn't he cute? And there's Carl's new room. And there's Carl. Dave is still a college boy, but no longer carefree. He's an upperclassman this year, and it's his job to keep the new freshmen in line, keep them all towing the mark. And Freddie doesn't even know where to look for the mark, let alone tow it. Say, Bud. Each year, the dean of the college announces the honor roll for the preceding year. This year, we find the name of Anne on our list. It's not such a surprise, for Annie's really worked hard and deserves every honor she gets. Les digs through the holes in his pockets, discovers he has 15 cents, decides to blow the whole thing all at once. So they go to the Memorial Union building, and Les orders up 3 great big ones, nickel ones. They drink to Anne's health, and to Les's 15 cents. We hope her health holds out longer than Les's 15 cents did. Carl's going to try out for the University Symphony Orchestra this year. Will he make it? Yes, he'll make it. We've seen this picture before. See? And there's the old rival. Now everybody's happy. But tonight is Friday night, and all the boys and girls are tired of staring at the books. They've had a whole week of it. So tonight they all have dates, and are going to a big varsity dance at the Memorial Union building. It looks like a big evening. He feels like Sitting Bull. He's been waiting 30 minutes for this girl. Well, Mabel, hello, dear. At the varsity dances, there are plenty of people, and plenty of people's feet standing on plenty of people's feet. There's lots of music, and everyone has a fine time. All the girls get around plenty, and Dave gets around to plenty of the girls. Even Mabel gets around. Way around. Tonight there's a campus speaking contest to see who has the best voice, and she cuts it herself. Don't point, Jim. It's not polite. Dave wins the cup for the best speech. He certainly talked them out of that one. On the University of Kansas campus is a health service boasting of the best-equipped university hospital in the whole United States. Last year, this hospital alone handled 30,000 separate calls. Anne has come to see her roommate. Well, hello, Annie. How do you feel, says Anne. Oh, I think I'll live, says her roommate. Well, then live through this, says Annie. You remember Minnie Jones. Well, last night she went way, way up. Oh, for goodness sakes. Well, the months fly swiftly by, and our friends who it seems only yesterday were freshmen are now seniors and ready for graduation. Here we see them in their first senior class meeting. In these senior class meetings, the seniors cuss and discuss anything they can think of. Carl thinks being a senior after all these years is a pretty nice feeling. Don't you, Josephine? Uh-huh. Josephine does. Dave is elected to the presidency of the Men's Student Council. This group makes many of the rules by which the men's students at KU are governed, and so election to it is a great honor, perhaps the greatest honor that may come to any college student during his college days. Dave has made good at KU. To Anne comes her election to Phi Beta Kappa, standing for highest in scholarship and leadership. This has always been Anne's greatest ambition, so she rushes home to tell the news to her roommate and show her the shining new gold key of Phi Beta Kappa. Then she must write the news home to her hard-working mother. Annie, better turn that light on up there. It's getting a little... Thank you. Dearest Mother, the most wonderful thing has happened, and to Mother it's the most wonderful thing that could happen to her daughter. But classes are still going on, and professors are still attending them. They never give up. So let's park what's left of our car and go to school. There's Joe following his stomach right into class. Ann calls the teacher's appointment bureau. Now that she's about to graduate, she's ready for that teaching job. And this is a classroom, but classes don't last so long. So let's get back in our car and, Joe, something for you. Uh-oh, a parking ticket. Carl has borrowed a tuxedo, a stiff collar, and a black tie. Tonight he's going to make his debut with the KU Symphony Orchestra. He's going to play a cornet solo. So low you probably won't be able to hear it. That's Gertie with the violin. The conductor mounts the stand, and there sits Carl, proud as a pup. His parents are there, too. See, Daddy, there's our Carl. Well, sure enough, Ma. Carl takes his place in front of the orchestra. His heart's beating so loudly they can hear it in the last row of the balcony. After 4 years of good hard work, Carl has finally made good at KU, finally fulfilled his ambition. But now the day of graduation is at hand, and we see our friends all lined up for the ceremony of walking down the hill. Mabel has made good with a ring on her left hand, and goodness how she worked. She won those shoes in the contest. They march 2 by 2 in a long line down the hill, through a field of daisies into the stadium. They do look like dandelions, don't they? They march through a field of dandelions into the stadium. You get to look like that after 4 years in college. Proud parents are in the graduation audience. Carl's folks, and Dave's, and Ann's mother. When diplomas are passed out, graduation becomes final. Then comes the hardest part of all college, and that is the saying goodbye. Goodbye to the buildings, to the trees, to the teachers, and goodbye to all the friends you've known and loved the 4 years you've been in KU. Les and Ann say goodbye by exchanging new addresses. Someday they hope to join forces in a home of their own. Next year, Ann has her teaching job in a Kansas high school. And Les, with the aid of the university engineering authorities, has a position as a petroleum engineer with a Kansas oil company. And so with a clasp of the hand they say goodbye. There's no kissing goodbye at KU, no sir. Les and Ann say goodbye to each other, and both say goodbye to old KU as the flag waves on forever. And we say goodbye to you, and thanks a lot for listening.